Hello and welcome to Maths with Udom. I still remain your online mathematics tutor, Mr. Okon Udom. So today we are looking at division of fractions. Division of fractions. And we're going to move from one lesson to another. So today's lesson is lesson 1. Okay? Division of fractions. Lesson 1. So that is what we have for today. Now, there's a rule to follow whenever you are dividing fractions, okay? When you are dealing with division of fraction, there's always a rule to follow. And what is that rule? To divide by a fraction, simply multiply it by its reciprocal. I repeat, to divide by a fraction, simply multiply that fraction by its reciprocal. Is that okay? What do I mean by reciprocal? For instance, if you have A inverse, okay, the reciprocal of A is A inverse. The reciprocal of A is what? A inverse. And that means 1 divided by A. The reciprocal of Y is what? Y inverse, which is what? 1 divided by Y. Okay? The reciprocal of M is M inverse, okay, which is the same thing as 1 over M. Likewise, what is the reciprocal of 2 over 5? The reciprocal of 2 over 5 is the same thing as what? 2 over 5 inverse. And how do we break this down? This simply means 1 divided by what? 2 over 5. Okay? So 2 over 5. And if you simplify this, that will give us 1. Once the division sign turns to multiplication, what happens? Then you switch the fraction. Okay? So we have multiply by what? 5 will go up and 2 will come down. You switch the fractions. And that will give us what? 5 divided by 2. Okay? So 1 divided by 1 will give us times 5 over 2. So let's multiply the numerators. 1 times 5 will give us what? Will give us 5. While 1 times 2, the denominator, will give us what? Will give us 2. Okay, so here we can see that the reciprocal of 2 over 5 is what? Is 5 over 2. That is the meaning of reciprocal. Now, let's move to today's example to understand this topic proper. Let's look at some examples under division of fractions. So let's take our examples for today. Examples. Simplify the following. Number 1, 2 divided by 5 over 8. Okay, that's number 2. Number 3. Number 4. Number 5. So these are our examples, and we're going to solve them one after the other. Okay, we're going to solve them one after the other. So solution. So let's start with number 1. What do we have there? We have 2 divided by 5 over 8. So 2 divided by 5 over 8. Okay? Now remember, every whole numbers, they have 1 as their what? As their denominator. So what do you do here? So we have, this gives us 2 divided by 1. Divided by what? 5 over 8. Okay? So, and this gives us 2 divided by 1. Once you have the division sign, once the division sign changes to what? Multiplication, then what happens? You reverse the what? The fraction. Just as I said earlier on, to multiply by a fraction, simply multiply it by its what? Reciprocal. Okay? So once the division sign changes to multiplication, you multiply 5 over 8, okay, by what? The reciprocal. So what the reciprocal of 5 over 8 is what? 8 over 5. That is 8 divided by 5. Okay, so from here, we multiply the numerators together and then the denominators together. So what is 2 times 8 as our numerator? 2 times 8 is what? 16. Divided by 1 times 5 is what? Is 5. We can't leave our answer this way because it is what? An improper fraction. So we need to change this to a mixed fraction. And that will give us what? So how many 5 can go in 16? That's 3. So we have 3 whole number, 1 over 5. So, and that is our answer for number 1. Okay? Now let's quickly move to example 2. Example 2. Okay? What do we have there? So, for our example 2, what do we have? 3 divided by 5 divided by what? 6. All we need to do is to change this 6 whole number to 6 divided by 1. So from here we have 3 divided by 5 divided by 6 over 1. Because all whole numbers, they have 1 as their what? Denominator. Okay, so from here, what do we do? So we have 3 divided by 5. Once we change the division sign to multiplication sign, what do we have? It means we are going to reverse the fraction. Okay, so 1 will go up while 6 will come down. That's the reciprocal. So the reciprocal of 6 over 1 is 1 over 6. So 1 over 6. Okay? So from here, we can cross divide, okay? Or we can multiply the numerators and then divide. So we still get the same answer. So let's multiply the numerator. So 3 times 1 will give us what? Will give us 3. While 5 times 6 will give us what? 30. So we can't leave our answer this way because we have common factors. There's a common factor between the numerator and the denominator. And what is the common factor? 3 is the common factor. So we divide the numerator by 3. We divide the denominator by 3. So 3 divided by 3 will give us 1. Divided by, while 30 divided by 3 will give us 10. So at the end of the day, our final answer is 1 divided by 10, which is what? A proper fraction. Is that okay? Alright. So let's move to example 3. So what do we have in example 3? We have 2 whole number, 1 over 4, divided by 3 over 7. The first thing to do is to change this mixed fraction. Let's change this mixed fraction into what? into improper fraction, and then we'll continue. So 4 times 2 is 8 plus 1, 9 divided by 4. So this gives us 9 divided by 4. So divided by what? 3 over what? Over 7. So from here, what do we have? We change the division sign to what? Multiplication. And that gives us what? 9 over 4 times what? Now, once you change the division sign to multiplication, you reverse the fraction. So 7 will go up, while 3 what? Will come down. So from here, we can see the possibility, sorry for that, we see the possibility of cross dividing. Because 3 and 3 can divide through each other, okay? They have common factors. So 3 here, 1. 3 in 9, we have what? We have 3. So what do we have from there? We multiply the numerators. So 3 times 7 will give us what? 21. So 3 times 7 divided by the denominator. 4 times what? Times 1. So 3 times 7 is what? 21. Divided by what? 4 times 1 is what? Is 4. We can't leave our answer this way because it's an improper fraction. So we convert it into what? A mixed fraction. How many 4 can go in 21? 5. Okay? So we have 5 whole number. It will remain 1 divided by what? Our denominator. And that is our answer for number 3. Okay? That's the answer for number 3. Is that okay? Now let's move to number 4 quickly. Number 4. So what do we have in number 4? We have 3 over 4 divided by what? 1 over 2. So we have 3 divided by 4. So we change the division sign to multiplication. And then we multiply 1 over 2 by its reciprocal. So what is the reciprocal of 1 over 2? 2 over 1. So we have 2 over 1. So from here, we can see the possibility of cross dividing. 2 and 4. They have common factors. Okay? So 2 here 1, 2 here 2. So at the end of the day, we have 3 times 1 will give us 3. That is 3 times 1 divided by 2 times 1. 2 times 1. So 3 times 1 is 3. While 2 times 1, our denominator is what? Is 2. 2 times 1 is 2. So this is what? An improper fraction. We convert it into a mixed fraction. And that will give us what? How many 2 in 3? 1. So 1 whole number, 1 over what? Over 2. And that will be the answer for our number 4. Okay? You can see it's very easy. And let's move to number 5. Which is our last example. Okay? Let's start number 5 from here. Okay, so for number 5, what do we have? We have 2 whole number, 2 over 3 of 1.5, all divided by what? 4 whole number, 4 over 5. So what do we do? So the first thing is to work on the numerator. Okay, so for the numerator, we change what? The mixed fraction into what? Into improper fraction. So let's start So 3 times 2 is 6 plus the numerator 2. That's 8 divided by 3. So we have 8 divided by 3. Now, off in mathematics or in fraction, off represents multiplication. So we write multiplied by, we change 1.5 also into improper fraction. So 2 times 1 is 2 plus 1, 3 over 2. 3 over 2. Okay? Now, divided by what? 4 whole number, 4 over 5. So we also change this into improper fraction. So 5 times 4 is 20 plus 4. That's 24 over 5. 24 over 5. So we have 24 divided by 5. So from here, what do we do from here? So we have 8 divided by 3 times 3 divided by 2. Now, you change the division sign into what? Multiplication. And once that happens, you reverse the fraction. So the reciprocal of 24 over 5 is 5 over 24. So we have 5 divided by what? 24. So from here, we can see the possibilities of cross dividing. Okay? So 3 and 3 are common. They can divide each other. Then 8 and 24 also, they have common factors. Okay? So 3 here 1, 3 here 1. 8 here 1. 8 in 24, we have what? We have 3. So the next thing is for us to multiply all the numerators together, likewise all the denominators. So for the numerator, what is left? We have 1 times 1 times 5. So we have 1 times 1 times 5. And for the denominator, what do we have? 1 times 2 times 3. 1 times 2 times 3. And finally, 1 times 1 times 5 will give us what? Will give us 5. Divided by 1 times 2 times 3 will give us 6. Okay? So finally, our answer for that is 5 divided by 6, which is what? A proper fraction. Is that okay? Let's have our assignment for today's class. Assignment. So let's take our assignment for today's class. Assignment. Simplify the following. Number 1. Ten divided by what? Number 2. Number 3. And lastly, number 4. So these are your assignments for today's class. Number 1, we have simplified the following. 10 divided by what? 2 over 7. Number 2, 2 whole number, 1 over 5 divided by 1 over 5. Number 3, 4 whole number, 2 over 5 divided by what? 1 whole number, 1 over 10. And lastly, number 4, 5 whole number, 1 over 4, of 2 whole number, 4 over 5. Everything divided by what? 3 whole number, 3 over 4. Okay, so that is your assignment for today. All you need to do this assignment, submit your work to your school teachers for appropriate markings and corrections. By so doing, you get better by the day. So we have come to the end of today's class. But before you leave, kindly like this video, drop your comment in the comment section, share this video to everybody all over the world, and most importantly, click on the subscribe button under this video. Remember, to become a mathematician, you need constant practice. Okay? It takes constant practice every day, solve many questions, and then you get better by the day. Until I come your way again next time, I still remain your online mathematics tutor, Mr. Okon Udom, and I'm saying to you, remain mathematically sound. See you in my next class. Bye for now.